Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jonah, and I'm from Discover. We are very excited to have Andréa Jones with us today. Before we get any further, just to make sure you all can hear and see us all right, please hop over in the comments. Let us know that you can see us, that you can hear us. Maybe tell us where you're tuning in from. We love to hear that. Maybe how you heard about Discover or Andréa Jones. And Andréa, if you could give just a little wave and a hello so we can make sure everything is working on your end.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited about this social media session today. Y'all are in for
Yeah,
a treat.
me too. I know that social media is a consistent struggle, and I am so excited to hear what you have to teach us. Set a couple expectations for our viewers. If Andréa is moving fast, or the dog walks in the room, or you have to get up and go to the bathroom, don't freak out. There will be a replay video available on the YouTube and on the Discover page, and emailed to you along with the course offer. Oh, I just want to call out really quick a couple of these. We have Miss Red Kitchen tuning in from Alabama. That's awesome. From Delaware, the first state. Yeah, there we go. From Cleveland, Ohio, first state pride. And from the UK, Kevin, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sure the timing is a little difficult for you, so we appreciate you being here. And then one more expectation to set before we get started. I did just want to say that there will be a formal Q&A after the presentation. So if you have questions throughout, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll try and go back to them, but if you can write them down or hold on to them until the Q&A, that allows us to better get to all those questions so we don't ignore anyone, because we want to answer all your questions. And then without further ado, I'm going to give a proper introduction here. We have Andréa Jones today. Andréa has been putting her life online since 2004, back when blogging was not so cool. By the time she started her social media business 10 years later, social media marketing had caught on like wildfire. Everyone was realizing that if you want to grow your business, you need to tap into the power of social media. But here's what she quickly realized. Well, plenty of people had profiles and were posting. Few actually knew how to do so strategically. For many, social media had become a giant hamster wheel with no direction and no real proof of results. And that's why she created the Savvy Social School and the Savvy Social Podcast, which is in the top 100 marketing podcasts as of now. Now, Andréa, I don't want to take up any more time, so I'm going to hand it over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Jonah. I'm really excited to dive into the content today. As Jonah mentioned, there's going to be time for Q&A at the end. Definitely drop questions and take some notes, whether it be a Google Doc or I like to use my iPad or handwritten, whatever you need. Definitely take some notes, because we're going to talk about how to build a social media strategy that you'll actually stick with. Now, here's the thing. A lot of us are in what we call a social media situationship, okay? Maybe we kind of love it, but it feels a little bit like a toxic lover. It's like reeling us in with all those notifications. Like the latest one is Instagram keeps telling us 90% of people are engaging with this post and come back over to our app. And it feels a little bit like, but I have other things to do. And so I wanted to address some of this situationship feelings, because yes, social media is amazing for business owners, but as an individual and as a person, it can feel a little overwhelming. And some of the common roadblocks I see happen on social media are things like we're overwhelmed with all of the options. There's so many apps out there. We feel this sense of dread when there's another social media notification that happens. We feel like we are not inspired to post when it's actually time to post the thing. We're not sure what even to say. And then we feel like we're on this content machine, that we're constantly driving out content. Here's the thing with social media, though. There are no quick fixes to the social media problem. So we're going to dig into the strategy, but I want to emphasize that we have work to do here. There's going to be a little bit of upfront time investment to get this strategy going. We're going to commit to consistency. So consistently posting on social media without feeling like you're on this content machine. And we're going to dedicate ourselves to marketing our business. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is decide on our internet home. And I'm a huge believer of focusing on one platform for the next 90 days. Okay. So I'd love to see in the comments which platform you'd like to commit to, one platform for the next 90 days. And you can choose any of them. I personally like starting with choosing a platform that you enjoy. If I said to you, I don't know, Carrie, I see Carrie's here, Kevin, Don. If I said, you have to be on LinkedIn, but you said, I don't know, I don't like LinkedIn, you won't even do it, even if I tell you that it's the best platform for you. So start with a platform that you enjoy, but any platform is applicable here. We can pick any platform and apply this strategy to. Shannon's choosing Pinterest. Nelson is choosing Facebook. You can choose any platform that you'd like. We're going to start setting up our systems on that platform as well. So when it comes to setting up your social media systems, your success is your intention and your micro habit. So just the fact that you're putting in the chat right now, or those of you watching the replay are writing down the platform that you're committing to, you are setting your intentions. Now we need to develop the micro habits around those intentions. So your success is your intention plus your micro habit. And there are 3 types of systems that we're going to go through today. The first is your content creation habit. So this is actually creating the content. The second is your daily check-in habit. So this is actually networking and engaging on social media. And the third one is your monthly metrics habit, which we'll cover at the very end of the session in way more detail. But when we think about our content creation habits, I want to give you a few tips for how to get through this habit. The first is you're going to choose a day and time to focus on that content. You're going to set a date with yourself to commit to this. And then as you commit, you'll notice that you're building trust over time and that your skill set is actually improving. So when I teach you about creating content, what I want you to recognize is that you are committing to yourself to learn social media. And I know this is hard as an adult too. I just tried rollerblading recently and I don't know what it is, but as an adult, I felt like I should have got it and I didn't get it. And I was like, I don't want to do this ever again. I feel like that's what happens with social media sometimes. As adults, we feel like we should just know, but this is a skill set we're developing. And then some of the tools I use for success, I use Asana, which is a task management tool. I use my Google Calendar to literally block off time in my calendar to do this. And then I set a timer for myself to keep committed with that habit. All right, so next up we have our daily check-in habits. And very similar to our content creation habits in that we want to set aside 10 to 20 minutes each day to review social media. How many of us here watching live can commit to 10 to 20 minutes a day for reviewing social media? I do this right before my lunch break. I'm scrolling through Instagram, I'm scrolling through Facebook, I'm responding to my notifications, and I'm keeping it moving. So 10 to 20 minutes a day is a good place to start for a lot of business owners. In those 10 to 20 minutes, we're responding to comments and messages, we're spending time outreaching and building new connections. And I, again, use these tools to help me, and we'll go really deep into this later on into this session. I want to kind of give you an overview now. Linda says, yes, she can commit to this. Thank you, Linda, for setting that intention for yourself. The third system that we're setting up is our monthly metric habits. And this is where a lot of business owners, we get a little bit stuck because we feel like, quote unquote, we feel like it's not working on social media when in reality, we're not in tune with the metrics. So we want to set aside 30 minutes each month to review the previous month's metrics. We're going to make sure we're focused on metrics that actually bring impact to our business. And again, the tools for success, I'm setting up a reminder in my project management tool. I'm blocking off time in my Google Calendar. I'm using a spreadsheet to kind of manage all of these things. And one of the biggest questions I get about this is something that Tanisha is alluding to in the comments is like, I wish I could only spend 20 minutes a day on all of this, because sometimes it's hard. It's hard to manage hashtag all of the things, right? Not only do we have to do social media, but as business owners and course creators, we have so much going on. We have to actually film the courses. We have to, write our sales page copy. Maybe we're handling customer service issues. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. And so one of the things I want to emphasize is that we're sticking with consistency. So the key to success is consistency, But consistency means going at the same frequency. Okay, the same frequency. It has nothing to do with quantity. So you can choose 20 minutes a day daily for social media. That's still consistent. You can also choose 2 hours a day daily for social media, still consistent. Okay, so doesn't matter the quantity of time. We're just going consistently at the same pace, and you can decide what that is. All right, so let's get into this social media strategy. The first pillar of building out a social media strategy is mastering your messaging. This is the language that you're going to use on social media to talk to your ideal client and customer. So this is essentially the words that you're going to say on social media that will help people understand what it is that you do and what it is that you sell. And I like to start this conversation with the 3 W's. The 3 W's are a very simple way to outline what your marketing messages are. And if you feel brave, you can put these in the chat. So the first W is, what do you sell? That one's easy. So for me, what do I sell? The Savvy Social School. The second W is, who is it for? And you want to get specific if you can. So what do you sell is the thing, how you make the money. Savvy Social School for me. Who is it for is that ideal person who's going to be purchasing your product. So for me, it's online business owners, not necessarily someone who has a local business, not necessarily someone who speaks to a smaller audience. Typically, it's online business owners who want to build larger audiences. Okay, very specific. And then the why doesn't matter. The why doesn't matter. And when we're talking about this third W, the why doesn't matter, we're really focusing on the feelings here. Okay. And you can actually do an exercise with yourself where you, on a piece of paper, fold it in half, one side right before, the other side right after, and think about why it matters to your ideal customer or client. What are they feeling before purchasing your course or your product? And how do they feel after? And this will help you come up with dozens of social media posts. Okay. So before and after, really focusing in on the feeling and really focusing in on the individual person that you are serving. Okay. Individual people that you're serving. So an example for me, identifying before, a lot of people feel overwhelmed with social media. After, maybe they feel a sense of clarity and calm, and they feel like they can actually do the things that they say that the course promised or that they set out to achieve. Okay, so before and after. And this is a really great exercise for developing tons of social media marketing messages. All right, so now let's take our foundational messaging, our 3 W's. What do we sell? Who is it for? And why does it matter? And we're going to apply it to social media posts and social media content. And this is where we start building out our authority. So we've got our 3 W's. What do you sell? Who is it for? Why does it matter? And we're applying it to our social media work. And we're going to create a social media content strategy. Now, when I start building out the strategy, I want to sit down and identify some pillars of content that will be amazing to post on social media. And I call these the 5 pillars of content. We're using the 80-20 rule here, where 80% of what we're posting is non-promotional, 20% is promotional. And we're going to try to build a community around the work that we do. All right, I'm going to drink some water. There we go. All right, so the first pillar is your promotional content. This is where you're promoting your course. You're promoting your offer. So Debbie in the chat, for instance, put, Debbie has an online course on shadow work for people who are all ready to do their inner work so that they can become whole and balanced beings living their best lives. So Debbie, when you are posting on social media, you are promoting that course. If you have a lead magnet or something like that, you're promoting that offer. If you have some other content like a blog post or a podcast, you're promoting that. But you'll notice that this is one type of content piece out of 4 or 5 total pieces. Okay. So one type of piece is a promotional post. The next type is educational content. This is the type of content where we're educating our audience on what we do. We're using our expertise and showing it on social media in the form of a tip, in the form of sharing advice, in the form of really showcasing what you do. So An example would be if you have a school that teaches yoga teachers how to market their business, then maybe you have a post that talks about the difference between Instagram and Facebook. Or maybe you are teaching about the latest and greatest email marketing tool. Okay. But you're teaching it to those yoga teachers. That's an example of an educational post. We also have community style posts. So community posts are refocusing us on the larger picture. So while educational posts talk about us as course creators or business owners, our community posts are really talking about the community at large. I saw some really great examples this week, for instance, where Rihanna was announced as a billionaire. Did y'all see this? Rihanna is now a billionaire. A lot of people who teach business courses or talk about wealth, we're talking about Rihanna being a billionaire. That's an example of a community post, something that happened in the news that people are bringing context to their customers and clients on social media. Then we have entertainment posts. So I love this pillar of content because I don't know about y'all, but I don't sign on to social media hoping to see an ad. Right? I'm not like logging on to Facebook going, I hope someone sells something to me today. I want to see like a cute dog or a funny GIF. And so when we think about our audience and how they're using social media, they want to be pulled into that story. For a lot of people who are personality brands, this shows up as that behind the scenes content. So that reality TV show version of your life. Maybe you're showing off your recording studio where you record your courses. Maybe you're showing off your process. Like, here's how a course looks before it starts. Maybe you're talking like me about my dog Gibson. He's in all of my videos. He's always chilling behind me. He shows up on my Instagram. People love him. And so when we're thinking about the entertainment piece, we want to talk about something that humanizes you as a person or humanizes your brand. The last pillar of content is the engaging content pillar. So when we're thinking about re-engaging our audience, this is super important for two reasons. Number one, you are building a conversation around what you do. So instead of kind of talking at people, you're bringing them into the conversation. Okay. So you're asking a question. You're posting like a poll or, and giving people options, yes or no, this or that. So you're pulling them into having a dialogue with you. The second reason you want engaging content is the algorithms love it. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, they all love it when people like and comment and share and engage with your content. So you want to make sure that every single week you have a content piece that is really focused on that engagement. Okay, so let's show some examples of what this looks like. These are two example posts. On the left-hand side, at this point, I'm not even tracking my USPS packages anymore. That's an example of an engaging post. It was posted by an e-commerce brand. And so when we think about their version of entertainment, it's still very specific to what they do. On the right-hand side, we have another example of this. It's more serious. So this is from one of my past clients, the Life Coach School. When we think about the courses and programs that they sell, they're all about life coaching. And so to have a quote like this, their audience is going to like and comment and share this until the end of time. Okay. Let's look at two more examples. Left-hand side here is an example of an educational post. This is for the Performer's Mindset, which is a company that teaches actors how to show up for their auditions. And it's using coaching. So we've got a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And they use this kind of graphic to talk about what these two things meant. And the comments on this post, it was one of our most commented posts because it really showed the difference that this company makes in the world. On the right-hand side, we have another example of something where people were super engaged with it. What do you enjoy most about podcasting? This is from one of our clients. She podcasts. An open-ended question. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be very simple. Ask the question and you'll be surprised by how many people comment and engage with that post. Last example here, we've got 2 examples of promotional content. So on the left-hand side, we have someone sharing their client story. This is a really great way to promote your course or your product, is to use testimonials from people who really found value out of the thing that you do. And then on the right-hand side, we have someone talking about their lead magnet. So really sharing the work that they do as a way to get people to take that next step with them. All right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about actually creating these posts. So now that we have the ideas and the pillars down, I want to talk about creating the posts, first starting with writing social media copy, because we kind of fall into 2 camps. Some of us don't mind writing, but we're not great at graphics. Some of us are great at graphic design, but when it comes to writing, forget it. So whether you're in either camp, I want to help you out today. And we're going to use a formula for writing promotional copy. So this is that promotional caption. I call it the ABCs of writing the caption. This is gold. Y'all want to write this down because every time you write a caption, you're going to want to use this formula. So the first part of this formula is the attention. We're going to grab their attention in some way. And if we think about social feeds like Instagram or Facebook and LinkedIn, the first line you see, but the rest you have to click like a read more or a see more option to like actually read the whole caption. So what are you going to say in that first line where someone goes, I want to learn more about this, right? That's how you're going to pull them in. Next up, we have our benefit statement. So you're grabbing their attention in some way. Then we're listing out the benefits. And hint, when we talked about our 3 W's, what do you sell? Who is it for? Why does it matter? That why does it matter? Full of benefits. Okay. Why do people want this? What's in it for them? And the last one is the C, the call to action. So we really want to make it crystal clear what we need people to do on social media. So if it's linking to something, you're putting the link. If they need to go listen to something like a podcast, you're telling them how to find it very specifically. Do not make assumptions here. Social media moves very quickly. People are scrolling very quickly. Make it easy and frictionless for the person reading this post to take action. So I made an example of this. This is like old school OG example. For those of you who've been around for a while, I saw Carrie in the comments. You may have seen this before. So this is an example of a promotional caption. I made up this business, so I wouldn't go to this website. I don't know what it is, but the first part is our attention grabbing statement. Are you looking for the best care for your pup while you're out of town? I'm a dog person. If I've been struggled looking for kennels and things for my dogs, if I saw this, I would definitely click read more on this post. Okay. So here at Doggos United, we treat your pup like family. On each visit, your fur babies will receive. And then we have our benefits: their own comfy spot on the couch, a Kong full of their favorite treats, snuggle. I have to be careful. I can't say the T word. Snuggles from the staff, a daily stroll, I will say, because I've got dogs in the room. Use our easy online booking portal to book your dog's next stay with us. Okay, so this is an example of the benefits there in the middle, and I used cute little dog emojis. And then at the end, we have our call to action, and we made it very clear about the next step. Okay, very clear about the next step. All right, so that's how you write a caption. Now let's talk about putting this together into a plan. That's something that we can repeat time and time and time again. So we all talked about time. We talked about our systems. We're going to create the posting plan. One thing I highly recommend is giving yourself a time limit, spending 1 hour a week planning, designing, and writing all of your social media posts. Okay, so 1 hour a week on this. And some of those first couple of weeks, you may only get through 1 or 2 content pillars. That's fine. We're adults. We're learning. We will get through this. You will get faster the more you do it. So you want to assign a theme to each day. Okay, so assign 1 theme to each day. You're going to assign a design to each theme. And I like to use Canva for this. Y'all know what Canva is? Canva.com. Canva is amazing for this. They've got a million templates. You just pop in your own branding. Super, super easy. Even if you have something that is like a very specific style to your photography. That's what you're assigning. Yes, Canva is amazing. And then you're going to plug in that specific post content. Okay. So I want to show an example of how I do this in Airtable. And let me just pull this up for you. Okay. So in Airtable, I lay out my content using themes. So here's an example of this. Let's say Monday, every Monday, I'm going to do a Motivation Monday. I've got 2 different templates here from Canva. It'll pretty much look the same. So I know if it's a Monday, I'm going to write some motivational content, and I've kind of outlined it. 8 a.m., Facebook and Instagram, that's what I'm doing. So you want to sit down and decide what this looks like for you, and then repeat time and time again. And these are Canva templates, right? Here's another example. Ask a question. Every Tuesday, I'm going to ask a question, trying to get engagement. I'm going to post it at 12 o'clock, Facebook and Twitter. You can decide to do these 2 things, okay? You can decide how this works for you. I just wanted to show you one example of what this looks like. Sweet. All right. How we're tracking? We're doing good. All right. Let me go back to my slides here. So we talked about building out your messaging. We talked about creating your content. Now I want to move on to the 3rd pillar, which is your impact. And this is actually where I want business owners to spend most of your time as a business owner, as a content creator. Really, it doesn't matter how much content we create. If no one sees it, then we're just going to keep creating content. And this is where that content hamster wheel feeling comes from, right? Is when we have to keep creating content and we feel like no one's seeing it and we feel like we're not getting anywhere. So when we're thinking about impact, it's how many people are we reaching with our content? Okay. So I want to talk about how to connect with your people. Those people who are like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to sign up for your product. I cannot wait to join your class or your course or your program. So we're going to start engaging and networking on social media. I saw a few people say they were on Pinterest. I saw people say Facebook and Instagram. You can take this strategy to any platform. So who we're going to engage with. We're going to start looking at our current followers. So start networking, engaging with our current followers, scroll through your home feed, like, comment, share, participate on social media. Social media is meant to be social, so let's be social. Then we're going to look at people who post in targeted hashtags. This works for nearly every platform. So for instance, if you are let me pick another example. If you are a financial advisor who teaches business owners how to budget for the year, then you're probably going to look at hashtags like hashtag support local or shop local or hashtag small business or small business boss or something like that, right? So when we're thinking about hashtags, we want to look for the hashtags that our ideal customers and clients are using in their posts, scroll through the people who are in those hashtags, like, comment, and engage with their posts. Okay, people who engage with your post, they're people who are applying the strategy out there. They're doing it to you. So take a look at those people who are engaging with your posts. You also can look at your competitors' followers. So people who follow your competitors, go take a look at them. You can also look at other industry leaders. One of the favorite things I like to do is go to an industry leader, look at their latest posts, and then look at who's commenting on that post and see if there's someone there that you want to engage with. And then we also can do this in certain locations. This worked way better when we all could go to live events and things like that. But for instance, Podcast Movement happened this past weekend in Nashville. I wasn't able to go. One of my team members went. Katie on my team went. And so Katie's looking through the hashtags, who checked in to Podcast Movement, because those are our people. We love podcasters, right? So starting to engage with those people. One thing I want to underline here is that sometimes we can slip into a little bit of an awkward behavior. So I want to remind us that we're humans connecting with other humans. So like, be cool. We don't want to be that person at a party who like marches up to someone and goes, "Hi, I'm Andréa, buy my course," right? Like, have a little dialogue, have a little conversation first. Be a human. All right. Now, again, I get this question a lot. How much time? Andréa, this sounds like a lot. There's a lot of time. I want us to really commit to spending 10 to 20 minutes a day engaging on social media. Okay. So 10 to 20 minutes a day engaging on social media. Tracy's asking, when is there time to actually deliver the service? We want to be super focused on social media, only taking up 2 to 3 hours of our week. The other 30 hours we spend delivering our service to our clients. Okay. So, yes, I mentioned a lot of options here. You don't have to do all of the options. It's kind of like going to the gym and you see all of the equipment. You don't do all of the equipment every single time you go to the gym. You don't have to go on every single treadmill or every single stationary bike, do every weight machine. No, that would be ridiculous. When we're thinking about social media, it's the same way. You're going to build your custom plan that works for you. I gave you a bunch of options. You can pick and choose which ones you want to do. Is today leg day? You're going to focus on legs. If it's arm day, you're going to focus on arms. Okay. So if today's the day you're looking at hashtags, you're looking at hashtags. Maybe the next day you're going to look at locations. Maybe the next day you're going to look at an industry leader. And you're only going to spend 10 to 20 minutes doing this. Okay. Cool. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the specific actions that we're going to do as we're engaging. I call this the savvy engagement recipe. So when we think about engaging, you can do a like. It's like super like light, kind of like eye contact, liking a post. Not a super deep level of engagement, but it could kick things off. We also have commenting. One of my favorite ways of engaging with people is commenting. I know for me, for instance, if I'm scrolling through a social media feed and I see a good post, I'm headed straight to the comments. Okay. I'm headed straight to the comments. Tracy, I'd love to save your question for the end. That's such a good question. This is a good problem to have, and I have a solution for you. So stay to the end. Okay. Next up, we have a follow. Following is like more invested, and you want to make sure that when you follow someone, you actually want to engage with their posts. We are not talking about doing the follow unfollow game here. We're talking about following people who are super highly targeted and really interested in the things that you have to say. You also have direct messaging, which in this recipe is like the dessert. You can do this very lightly, very strategically. One of my favorite ways to do this is to respond to someone's story, whether it's a LinkedIn story, a Facebook story, an Instagram story. Just responding to their story as a direct message almost opens up the door for more deeper conversation. And then we also have sharing and tagging, which you can do as well. Sharing and tagging is a great way to like build your community. Do this very lightly and sparingly, and only if you truly mean it, because we don't want to get mixed in with these guys. Y'all know these guys, right? The little robots on Instagram who are like, nice pic, you're gorgeous, DM me, random emojis, thumbs up. We don't want to be this, okay? This is not good. So as you're applying this strategy, just make sure you're being a human connecting with other humans. All right, beautiful. Let's talk about paid advertising. So we're talking about impact. This strategy I mentioned takes a lot of time. So if you have that 20 minutes a day, this is a great strategy for you. If you want to go further faster, we're going to start looking into paid advertising. Now, I do want to say paid advertising is like the fuel to the fire. You got to have a fire first. Okay. So if things aren't working for you on social media, I highly recommend figuring out what that is organically first. So that means not paying and not giving Facebook your money yet till you figure out what works. Then you can start paying, unless you have money burn, and then you can burn it to figure out what works. Okay. So it just kind of depends on where you are. Okay. Here's some things to consider as you're diving into paid advertising strategies. You want to understand your buyer's journey, the customer journey. So if someone discovers you today, what steps does it take for them to go into your course? So for me, for instance, for the Savvy Social School, typically someone either sees me on social media, they hear me speak on a podcast, hear me speak at an event like this, maybe they sign up for one of my lead magnets, but it typically takes them 2 to 3 months before they actually join the school. You got to know these things before you start running paid ads, or else you're going to be very disappointed with the ads. There's not a lot of people who see an ad and just buy something right away. I mean, think about how many times you've done that. You've seen one ad, do you buy it? No, you typically do your research and wait around a little bit. For me, also, the podcast is huge. A lot of people listen to the podcast first. So if I'm looking at my buyer's journey, I want to get people listening to the podcast. So you've got to understand that, or else you're just giving these social platforms your money. You also want to understand that social media ads are an interruption. They're literally interrupting the feed. So design your ads accordingly. And I've actually seen some really interesting TikTok ads that look like TikToks. So I think that there's going to be a shift in the ad space because of that. Be prepared to spend some money on testing. When we have clients who are in similar industries, have similar lead magnets, we do similar strategies, we get different results. So it doesn't matter, even if you have a strategy, you've got to test it out first. And then this really works best if you're still doing organic posting, you're still doing organic outreach. That means you're still kind of networking and encouraging your community. And then create advertisements native to the platform, which kind of ties into the ads are interruptive. So make sure they kind of look like they're supposed to belong there in the feed. Now, one of the other things you can do to grow your impact is to use trending features. Okay, to use trending features. So when we think about how we want to grow, all of the algorithms kind of value trending features. So trending feature is essentially the newest features on a social media platform. Instagram Reels, for example, trending feature. YouTube Shorts, for example, trending feature. Pinterest Idea Pens, trending feature. These are all the new things on social media. And so most of the platforms give a lot of weight to these trending features in the algorithm. So Debbie's question actually answers this. If you're posting and running this strategy and you're still not seeing results, you need to try some of the trending features. Okay. Get your content in the top of the feed by using the things that that platform wants you to use. Okay. But here's how you know when you need trending features. You've got to establish the basics first. So you want to make sure that you have spent at least 90 days getting comfortable on social media. That means 90 days of posting, 90 days of engaging and networking and using the app. And then you want to start using some of these newer and trending features. And then you can see how you can take existing content and apply it to the new feature. So even if you've got content in the past that maybe didn't do well, or maybe it did, then you're going to recreate it as part of the trending features. Okay. All right, let's talk about managing the community a little bit. This answers your question a little bit, Tracy, because we're going to dive into this as well. But when we talk about managing our community, the value of the community is everything on social media. It doesn't matter how much you post, you really have to tap into your community and create a safe space for that community. So some suggestions I have, understand your company values. Social media is a reflection of your company. If it's not something you're talking about internally, don't say it on social media. We saw this a lot in the past couple of years in recent history. A lot of brands making statements about things. You don't have to do that. If it's not part of your company values, don't worry about it. Your social media reflects your company, and the right people will appreciate that. Share your values consistently, and not only when there's an event that happens. We also see this on social media. Something happens in the news and people scramble to make a statement. If you consistently talk about your company values, you don't have to worry about this. And then have a method for encouraging feedback and open conversation. And especially if it's offline, a lot of my clients who have a very dynamic group and a very vocal group, we're creating feedback forms. We're directing them to our customer support. We want to hear from you, but we don't want to get attacked on social media, right? So we're creating that space. And be willing to regularly examine your marketing approach. The forms also really help because you'll be able to see with data which pieces of feedback are just one person complaining and which feedback is, no, your community is trying to tell you something, right? So you can be really streamlined about this process. I want to share a few examples as well for those of you who want to be more socially conscious and be open to your community. I'm just going to put a few examples up on the screen, changing your wording, just being more aware of what the larger social economic landscape is. Okay. And you can screenshot this if you want and take a look later or watch the replay. All right. Last thing or two more things that I want to cover before we open up for Q&A. The first is getting team support. Tracy, this is for you, Tracy. If you find yourself spending more than 20 minutes a day with all of the notifications, you either need to get support from a team for social media, or you need to get support from your team with other things so that you can spend more time on social media. Okay, so you can decide. Some of my clients love social media. They love it. They don't want to give it up. So they're outsourcing bookkeeping. They're outsourcing writing a sales page. They're outsourcing customer service. Some of us, me included, who I love social media, but like I can't be on it all the time. I have my team in my inbox. 90% of the responses in my inbox on social media is a team member. Okay. So how do you know when you're ready to hire a team? You want to make sure that you understand the role that social media plays in your business growth. Okay. This is so important. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you don't know the impact that social media has on your business, you're going to feel like you're wasting your money hiring this out. But Tracy, I'm going to use you as an example. Tracy here is saying that she doesn't have time to respond to notifications. If you know that responding to notifications means your community feels more engaged, means when you have a launch, they're listening to you, which means you're selling more courses, okay? You know you need a team to respond to those notifications. You also need to understand your marketing messages, those 3 W's, you're sending them to your team, right? Especially the why does it matter? They need to understand the transformation that your work brings. And then you also want to understand your own personal limitations with social media and your business growth. So for me personally, I check my social media once a day. I do this for work too. It can be a lot. I do not want to be on all the time. I'm very introverted. I get drained very easily. I'm probably going to go take a nap after this. And I just can't be on it all the time, even though it's my job. And so for me, I know that's my limitation. So I'm definitely getting support with that area of my business. Outsourcing social media is just like outsourcing any other role in your business. This is becoming more and more important every single day. The more social media becomes more complicated and complex. I mean, just look at Instagram. It's like 10 different things in one. You've got Reels, you've got the feed, you've got stories, you've got IGTV, you've got Instagram guides. Like, there's so much going on. So you can outsource this. Just a few things to consider when you're outsourcing. You can hire an agency or an in-house person. I'm going to show you a few of the differences. And I put agency freelancer together, basically like a contractor or someone who works with a bunch of other people. So one of the benefits of having an agency or a freelancer is you don't typically need to train them. This is where a lot of business owners start because they already have a system in place. But the great thing about an in-house person is that you're co-creating the strategy and building systems together. Okay. With an agency as well, we're looking at that they have the process in place, but the in-house person, you're co-creating it. So I know for me with my agency, we do things very specifically. So if I have a client who wants to change that, I'm probably not going to be that flexible because we do it a very specific way. That's why it works. But if you need that customization, an in-house person is great. Agencies have other people who are able to support. In-house person, their business, 100% you. So agencies and freelancers typically have a lot of things going on. In-house person, they're all yours. There's a higher monetary investment with agencies and freelancers typically, but with an in-house person, there's a higher time investment. So you're probably going to have to train them, co-create it. Okay. So Tracy, I'm talking to you. This is what you're looking at, your decision here. Okay. All right. Last thing we're going to talk about today is measuring our success. This is my favorite topic. Because when we talk about impact and we talk about building and we talk about growing, a lot of reasons why we feel like it's not working is because we don't actually understand the numbers. We're not actually looking at the numbers. We just kind of feel like it's not working, right? All right. So here are a few types of numbers that you want to track, a few metrics that you want to keep your eyes on. The very top of this is community growth. This is kind of high level. How are things doing? Our communities growing. Okay. So we're talking about followers here, basically. Followers, page likes. On a platform like TikTok, I would almost say video views would go into this platform as well. So generally speaking, how is our community growing? And when we're looking at Pinterest, I would say your monthly impressions is this number. All right, we're next up looking at impact. So this is taking it a step deeper. When we think about impact, we're talking about impressions and reach. Okay, so I think Debbie was talking about how the posts don't really seem to be going as far. Debbie, you want to look at impressions and reach. If you aren't reaching enough people, then you need to do more networking. If you aren't reaching enough people, then you need to look at, commenting more on other posts so that people find you. You need to help people find you, basically. If this number is going up, so if your impact is going up, you're getting more impressions, you're reaching more people, but you're not seeing community growth, you're not seeing engagement, you're not reaching the right people. Okay, so these can be very telling numbers. Our third metric to track is engagement. So we're talking about likes, we're talking about comments. Shares are also great here. Saves. Saves are doing wonderfully on Instagram right now. People are saving your content. This is amazing. Okay. And then we also have intent. So when we think about intent, this is someone clicking a link. This is someone visiting your website. This is when we talk about on Instagram, when we say, click the link in our bio. This is, did people go look at our bio? Did they even look at our profile? And you can look at this on the post level. So if you're on Instagram, for instance, click on a post, swipe up, it's there. Or you can look at it on a larger scale, like your entire profile. You go into your insights and you can see how many people clicked on your profile that week or that month. And then lastly, we have conversions. This is people actually doing the things you're asking. Purchasing your courses, signing up for your lead magnets. Are people actually doing those things? But each of these trigger different areas. And so when we're thinking about the success of our social media posts, we want to make sure that the metrics we track match the intent of the content. Okay. So if we're saying sign up for my lead magnet, we should look to see if people signed up for the lead magnet. We're not looking for likes. We're not looking for comments. We didn't ask for that. We asked for the lead magnet. Okay. When we ask a question, we're looking for people to comment on it. When we post a video, we're looking for video views. So you want to make sure that the metrics you track match the intent of that content piece. Okay. Here's an example of this. This is one of my past clients, Dr. Anna Kabeka. When we look at her video performance, Facebook's going to try to tell you 720 people watch this. But when you dig into the metrics, I'm looking at 1 minute views. I think this video was about 20 minutes long. So only 82 people watched at least a minute. This is the telling number for me. I don't care how many people watched for 3 seconds. That almost doesn't matter at this point, right? Here's one more example of on Instagram. You can look in your profile and see profile visits, website clicks. Okay, so this is from another one of my clients, Cara Lowenthal. When we look at the profile visits, this is when people actually went to look at the bio. So we said, click the link in the bio. Then they went and looked. 59 people did. And then 13 of those people actually clicked over to the website. So this will tell you if people are actually taking action on the things that you ask them to do. Okay? Beautiful. Thank you so much. We're going to dive into Q&A, but I want to just mention, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm at OnlineDrea. Instagram's my favorite platform. Shoot me a DM. Myself, my team, we're in there, we're hanging out, and we'd love to support you on your social media journey. But thank you so much, and I'm excited for the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Andrea. That was awesome. For everyone watching, we're about to start the formal Q&A. But before we get into that, I did want to ask you a little more about the course you're promoting today.
Oh, yes.
So you are promoting the Content Maximizer Bundle course, which I imagine covers a lot of this more in depth. Did you want to give just a little summary before I dive into a couple questions? Just what's in that course?
Oh, yeah. So when I talked today about the content pillars and I showed you my
Mhm.
Airtable base, I mean, you get all of that in the course. Like you get the exact Airtable base, you get all of the templates, you get caption swipe files, but then I also show you more how to use it. So, how do you repurpose content? For
Mhm.
instance, if you're posting and posting all of this content, how do you take something and then reuse it in the future? So, I've got a course on that. I've got a course on the messaging. We talked about the before and after. I also show you a super cool way to get tons more captions and ideas for captions using my content grid method. So that's in there. And then obviously the fan favorite is the done for you content.
Mm.
Literally captions that are already written, fully written. If you're a life coach, if you're a financial advisor, if you're a course creator, it's all in there. You just copy and paste it into your social media and you're ready to go. So there's lots of resources in there. And it's such an amazing kind of special deal that I worked out only for people who are here right now.
Wait, so just to be clear, you have like, in addition to the course, you have pre-made content available for people to use in the course?
Yes. So for
Ooh,
those of you who are like, I don't have time, I got you.
there you go. And just in case, real quick, just in case I wasn't clear to viewers, feel free to start popping questions in there while we chat about the course. I just want to cover a couple things before we dive into the questions. A couple very standard questions, but I like to cover, like, is this lifetime access to the course?
Yes, it is
Oh,
lifetime access. So when you sign up, you get everything for eternity.
that is so valuable. And is there a community involved in that or any sort of aspect like that?
There isn't a community, but you can comment below each video. You'll probably see some comments below videos from past students as well. My team and I are in there to support you. So as you're working through and you're like, hey, I'm working on this post, I need some feedback, just comment below the video and we'll take care of you.
That's so awesome. And just to call it out for sure, you're offering it for $300 off what it normally is for just this week. So for all the viewers watching, that is a lot of value for just a short amount of time you can grab. Was there any other things you wanted to mention about the course before we hop into some questions?
Um, the course is a really great kind of jump start to the social media thing. And here's the thing, there's so many different options. I've really streamlined and simplified it for you. Like step by step, here's exactly what you need to do. You have all the templates, you even have the captions and the graphics. So if you feel overwhelmed, I think this is a really great option for those of you who just want to like get started now.
That is so awesome. Well, and if I can steal a little bit of the Q&A here, I would love to ask you a couple questions just to get rolling here. One of the biggest kind of challenges I've seen a lot of people go through with social media is you're trying to grow an audience to sell to, but you may not have a product to sell yet. Do you have any? Is there an adjustment to the strategy or any wisdom you can give when you're at that point, where, like, either you're actively building a course or you're trying to figure out what people want from you? What do you do when you're in that kind of position?
Yes. So when I outline the 5 pillars of content, your engaging and your entertainment pillar are probably going to dominate your content strategy, especially the entertainment pillar. You're at the stage where you're essentially an influencer.
Hmm.
So your content and your strategy is all about building that know, like, and trust factor. You're taking people behind the scenes of your life and the things that you're doing and showcasing your process as you're creating your course and, pulling people into the process. What do you need? What do you like? What would you like to see from me? So I would, maybe a little bit of the community pillar, but all of your content will probably be entertainment or engaging content.
Cheers. Yeah. And kind of on a note of that, we talked a lot about like where to get copy and how to generate copy. Do you have any tips for the flip side, which is, I know Canva is available, but as far as sourcing images, or you mentioned like, what came to mind, because you mentioned showing diversity in your business, but I know you also want to be careful not to speak for anyone that you are not as a business. So do you have any tips for places to grab other graphic elements, or good places to grab photos, or just tips in general for like populating the actual graphic side of things?
Yeah. So one of my favorite stock photo sites is Raw Pixel.
Okay.
It's very affordable and they have a very diverse selection of photos. And it doesn't feel like the cheesy stock photo. You know what I'm talking about? Like the cheesy stock photo where it's like, this isn't a real situation at all. Raw Pixel has a lot of the photography that looks like real people. And so a lot of businesses are starting to use that to show diversity in their photos. And you do want it to accurately reflect your people, right? Like you don't want to try to put something out there that doesn't ring true. So it does take some like digging deep and figuring out what that means for you as a course creator or a business owner. But you can leverage some tools like Raw Pixel to kind of pull in some of that stock photography and mix it up a little bit on your social channels.
I love that. And then last question I have, just to kind of circle back around, whether it's in that phase where you're an influencer and you're not selling anything yet, or just in general, do you have any advice for the head trip of just getting over imposter syndrome with social media and how you can just keep moving past that?
Yeah, that's the toughest thing because when we look at social media, it really is like everyone's like best dressed, best foot forward, right? Like
Right.
we didn't see like if someone cried in the shower that morning, like they're not really posting that part on social. And so just kind of remembering that we're all humans in this kind of experience can be helpful. But it is tough. And I will say this, one of my new favorite platforms is TikTok because
Mhm.
it's literally shifting the way that we do social media. And some of the videos that do the best on TikTok are the videos that are imperfect. Okay. So
Mm.
the videos where someone maybe messed up a word or stuttered or their baby's in the background and interrupted them or their dog is barking or whatever the case may be, those are the videos that are going viral. And so when we think about that as a course creator, that means you can show up exactly as you are. You don't have to
Mm.
change anything and people will respond to that type of content. So you don't have to be perfect. In fact, right now being perfect is a little bit of a detriment. Like
Huh.
people want to see the imperfectness of it all.
That's so do you advise people dip into TikTok, or do you have like a kind of person who you think is good at that? Because I know it's intimidating for a lot of people that haven't started messing. It's just like the dance app.
Yes, it is. It has become known as the dance app. But the thing about TikTok, I'm geeking out about it because I'm deeply studying it right now.
Mhm.
Their algorithm is fantastic. And it's mostly people you don't follow. They're trying to serve up to you the perfect content. Okay. So if we think about this from a business owner's perspective and a course creator perspective, that means when you create content, the algorithm's trying to learn who your people are and like show it to those people.
Hmm.
So while TikTok is known for being a dance app, I don't hardly see dancing in my feed because I'm looking at like book reviewers. Like I'm in
Right,
book
right.
talk. Like I can see all of the books and I will keep buying them all of the time, right? Because TikTok's like, this person likes books. Let's keep showing it to her. So when we think about that from a business owner perspective, you can niche down quite a bit on TikTok. So I think it's fun to do that.
Yeah. Well, and to my knowledge too, it's the only algorithm that where old content can resurface and actually get views months later,
Yep.
which is kind of
Yeah.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Harry's saying
There you go.
TikTok is like crack. Yes.
It is. I do have to be careful. Like I have to decide what's the difference between like work study, I'm studying TikTok time, and like I'm just having fun on this
Right.
app.
Right.
It's a little bit blurry, but it is one of those algorithms where posts can live a long time. So you could something you posted 3 months ago that got like 10 views at the time suddenly is getting thousands of views because it got picked up by the algorithm and people are watching it.
Hmm.
So your content goes a lot longer, similar to, I think, what YouTube does, where you can search for content and see old content. TikTok's just delivering that to you. So it's
Right.
kind of like a lazy version of YouTube. You don't have to
Right.
search for anything. It's just like, we know you want to watch
We
this.
know what you want. Yeah. Well, I find this interesting because I noticed no one said they were focusing on TikTok at the beginning of your presentation, but we have a lot of folks. Miss Red Kitchen here was just saying I've connected with a lot of teachers and book lovers on TikTok. So I think it's interesting that a lot of people are on TikTok, but still not necessarily utilizing it for their business. Um, And I just appreciate that you mentioned how like even advertising is changing because of the app
Yeah.
and how it's going. Well, it looks like we don't have a lot of questions coming in because I think you answered everyone's questions as you were going, just on a roll. So I want to thank you so much. For time's sake, we do have to wrap up here. For everyone watching, once again, there will be a replay available that'll be emailed to you or available on YouTube within 24 hours. And that course link will also be available to you. That offer is only there for 1 week, so take advantage of it while it's there. And if you like this video, if you like content like this and Andréa Jones, please like and subscribe to the Discover YouTube channel. We're trying to bring more people like Andréa out here to offer this fantastic content so we can all learn to be better creators. Before we wrap up, I did want to ask Andréa just if you have any last parting words for those people getting started on really trying to use social media for their business.
Yes. So the last thing I would say is really understanding the difference between a content creator and a business owner. I view it as a sliding scale. So find where you are on that scale because that will determine how much time you need to spend on social media. Some of us are more on the content creation side where we don't really have a lot of business management things to do. Some of us are on the business owner side where we have tons of business management stuff to do. So kind of figure out where you are on that scale and don't judge yourself too much about feeling like you're missing out. The apps are literally designed to feel like you're missing something. You're not. It's fine.
I appreciate that too. We have to remember what they're created to do, right?
Yeah.
To all our viewers, please thank Andréa for her time. I know I learned a bunch and I'm ready to go start applying it. Thank you so much, Andréa. And everyone watching, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.